Okay, Representative Nornes, it's been 24 years here in the House of Representatives, and you're going to retire here at the end of the 2020 legislature, or when 2020 is over. You're not going to run for re-election.
That's right. So the term actually ends the last day in December.
Sure.
I don't think I'm going to be here quite that long because they'll ask for my office back before that.
Right. Please tell us how you came to that decision.
I don't know if there's one thing, probably. You realize how long you've been here for one. That's one thing. I'm 76 years old for another thing. So you realize that, I've spent that much time here of my life. Actually, it turns out a second career, which I think is pretty remarkable that I think about. I had a radio career, about 32 years of that, and then 24 years here. So I've been very lucky that way. But going back to your question, I've had 10 grandchildren while I've been here. One was born 2 years before I actually got here. The others have all been born since I got here. And now I realize they're getting married, they're graduating from college. I mean, it's a wake-up call that some of them don't even know what their grandpa did before he got here. They have no clue. The radio thing that's a myth. They don't know. They do know that I've been serving here. Some have never been here because they live in California and places like that. So anyway, it all adds up to, it makes sense. I feel good about it. I don't know what I'll do with all my time, but I'll find something to do.
You said in your press release that I saw that you made sure to talk to people from all four corners of your district and to make sure they had your attention. What's it been like representing your district?
Well, I say it's been a pleasure. It's really been, I don't know what other legislators go through, but I know some of them have some very local constituents who probably, hounding me isn't the right word, but they really let them know where they're coming from. My constituents seem to be very nice people. If they got an issue, they'll tell me about it. There's no threatening going on. There's nothing like that. It's just that we work together. And I've tried very hard to be open-minded. And so any place that people are, that's how I have, I think, tried to serve my constituents, that I don't just come here and wait for somebody to call me. I'm out there where people can approach me, and they do. And I feel good about that, because sometimes I just walk up and they'll just look at you, and it just sort of sends a signal. Stop, please. I got something to ask, and sometimes it's very minor stuff, but they just have a question.
Sure.
Or I'll get up to them and say, I had a question. I can't remember what it is, but just wanted to talk. So I got a lot of friendly people. That's what I'm trying to explain. A lot of good constituents. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle or on, who they voted for. I'm their representative, and I've tried to act that way. So,
you had kind of an interesting road to the Minnesota House. You ran for the seat unsuccessfully in '92 and '94, but broke through in '96.
That's right.
Some people might have given up, but you kept trying to get elected. Why?
Yeah, I keep wondering why. I was running a radio station at that time, and that's not easy.
Well, yeah.
We were kind of the newer station in town, so we had a lot of work to do to establish ourselves and so forth. But I'd served on the school board for about 12 years, and I really enjoyed that. Originally, I ran for the school board because you can get so involved in your business, your job,
Oh, sure.
and hopefully the family too, that's what I was doing. And I thought, I need something that's a little different from everything else I'm doing. That'll kind of allow me to take a break and work on some other issues or whatever it is.
Sure.
So I ran for the school board basically for that reason, and it worked out. I really felt the radio station was doing pretty good, and the school board, those are good years, and I also thought, we're reacting to the state almost every day at the school level, so I thought maybe there's another way I can do something here. And then an opportunity just popped up where they were looking for a candidate. When I say they, the Republicans in the district.
Yeah.
And well, here's a chance. And I was encouraged by not many people, but a few, by Senator for one. So that's when I ran in 92 without a thought about what is this going to involve. And it was July. I mean, most candidates start early.
Yeah.
I'm almost at election day, and I'm just starting. So I got within 700 votes that year with no money and just guts, I guess, courage. And so that's what made me think, well, maybe if I work at this a little harder and actually raise some money and do those things, knock on a few more doors, maybe the outcome will be different. And it turned out to be about 65 votes that time. I think that was the number. And I think I was naive, I called for a recount. I could, so I did. Didn't help, but anyway. So I kept getting closer, and I wasn't discouraged. Nobody was telling me to stop. And so that third time around, the person who had been running those two previous sessions quit. And that opened the door to, there was an open race now. And then that's when I won. So since then, it's been good.
Over your time here at the House, you've been passionate about education. You've chaired the House Higher Education Committee. You've served as the top Republican when your party's in the minority. How did higher education become so important to you?
That's another pretty good question, because I don't know if I got a really good answer. So I get elected, and primarily it was K-12 and early childhood were the focus in the early years. And I don't remember which year it was, but I got a call from the speaker, or I don't know, might have not been the speaker. Yeah, I think it was. It doesn't matter. And they said, well, we have an opening on the Higher Education Committee. Somebody made some changes, and so somebody left, and we need somebody to plug that hole. So, well, fine. In those days, I'll go wherever you want me to.
Sure, yeah.
You know, and so I became a part then of higher education. So it was not something that I set out to do, but I found that to be real rewarding while I'm still working on K-12 issues. And then Steve Swigum, I don't remember what year that was actually, he called me at home and said, would you be willing to chair higher education? So I'd served a little while on there, and my goodness, I'm just beginning to figure out what that's all about. Now you want me to chair this thing. And that's like anything else here. I would never have volunteered or applied for that job, but I thought if he's got enough confidence in me to ask me to do that, how can I say no? So one thing leads to another, and that I had a call just the other day from a school board member back in Fergus Falls who was going to say something about me, I guess, at a meeting. And that's what I told him. I said the K-12 has turned out and higher ed really work together very well. Because what I did in higher ed often also affected as you went back to K-12 and early childhood.
So I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but is there anything in your time, in your career here, that you can think of maybe off the top of your head that you're particularly proud of, any specific legislation or policy?
Well, I thought about that because I found on the reviser's website that I could go back to 1997, my first year, and I could look at every bill that I introduced.
Wow.
And whether I was the chair or whatever. So it's a history, year by year, session by session of what I did. Mm-hmm. And I really haven't studied it thoroughly, but in my memory, I've worked on a lot of different things. But most recently, I think it had to do with higher education, how it affects K-12, because we have college in the high school where teachers in the K-12 system are teaching advanced courses. And then here comes another sort of a decision from above or someplace that says now those teachers must have a master's degree in the subject matter. And that's creating a problem because many of them, most of them probably didn't have that. They had the content, they had everything going, but Now here's another educational entity that says, no, you must have that. So it's a pickle. So I worked with Lakes kind of Co-op in the Fergus Falls area, Morehead State University, the public school system, and so a number of folks came up with an idea on how to fix that, came to the legislature, we passed the revenue that they requested to make this all happen, and it did. It's been very successful, and that's led to, I think, other pilots or other similar places in the state of Minnesota where they're using the same thing. So I think the number one thing that I think really had the biggest impact was that, because it's not only higher education, but it impacts K-12.
What do you miss most about your time here at the house?
I don't know. You know, you got a lot of friends that are here. You got things to do. You got an office.
It's a nice office.
Place to park my. This is the smallest office I've had since I've been here. So that was maybe the other signal that I should be leaving, because the next one will be even smaller. But it's kind of the challenge of it, and working to solve problems, I guess. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to know. It's going to be different, but yet I feel good about it. You know, it's you sort of. You've heard of the term your political. I can't think of the term, but you have a certain amount of political capital. You know, and I feel I'm probably toward the end of my capital.
Sure.
I've spent it all, used it all, and that might be the same as enthusiasm for the job, where I still have that in a certain degree, but some of it isn't there like it was at the beginning. And so you feel you got to have that initial drive, I think. Otherwise, maybe somebody else should take your place. That's so. But the whole place is a fun place, and a lot of people would like to be here, and they've never had the opportunity. Another reason why I'm retiring, because now I give somebody else a chance to be here. So.